He came back. Maybe it was a text late at night, a sudden call, or that random "Hey, how have you been" message after weeks, or even months, of silence. And your heart skipped a beat, didn't it? Because no matter how strong you tried to be, part of you still wanted to understand why. Why does he always come back when you finally started to move on? Let's be honest. When a man disappears, you spend nights replaying every word, every moment, trying to figure out what you did wrong. But when he suddenly shows up again, acting like nothing happened, it confuses you even more. It's not just the message, it's what it represents. The door you tried so hard to close, opening again. But here's something few people tell you. When a man comes back, it's rarely because he truly knows what he wants. In most cases, even he doesn't understand why he's reaching out. It's not always about love or missing you. It's deeper than that. Psychological, emotional, and sometimes even unconscious. Because the truth is, men often return for 3 hidden reasons that even they can't explain. Reasons that come from fear, ego, and emotional patterns they never learned to control. And when you finally understand these reasons, you stop chasing answers that don't exist and start seeing the situation for what it really is. You see, most women think he comes back because he realized he lost something special. But in reality, his mind works in a way that's completely different from yours. While you feel, reflect, and heal, he avoids, distracts, and runs until the silence becomes louder than his pride. That's when he remembers you, not because he's ready, but because something inside him got triggered again. It could be loneliness. It could be guilt. It could be that someone new didn't make him feel what you once did. Or maybe it's simply his ego that can't stand the idea of you finally being okay without him. And that's why you need to hear this today. Because if you don't understand what's really going on in his mind, you'll fall into the same emotional trap all over again. You'll mistake curiosity for love, comfort for connection, and guilt for care. But after this, you'll never see his messages the same way again. So before you answer that text, before you let him back into your life thinking it might be different this time, listen carefully. Because a man only comes back for 3 reasons, and none of them are as romantic as your heart wants to believe. You remember how it ended, don't you? Not with a big fight, not with clear closure, but with silence. He started pulling away little by little. Fewer calls, slower replies, colder words. You tried to hold on, tried to make sense of it until one day, he was simply gone. No explanations, no apologies, just absence. And then, time started doing what time always does. You cried, you overthought, you doubted yourself, and slowly, you began to heal. Your life started to find a new rhythm. You stopped checking your phone every 5 minutes. You started sleeping again. You even caught yourself smiling at something random, realizing maybe you were finally getting better. But just when your heart began to quiet down, there he was again. His name lighting up your screen like a ghost from a past you didn't ask to relive. "Hey, how are you?" 3 words, simple, harmless, but capable of breaking everything you'd rebuilt. Your mind freezes. Do you answer? Do you ignore him? You tell yourself it's just a message, that you're stronger now. But deep down, you know what's really happening. The past you buried starts breathing again. You start wondering what made him text you. Did he miss you? Did he finally realize your worth? Or is he just bored, lonely, or curious to see if you'd still reply? That uncertainty hurts more than his silence ever did, because at least when he was gone, you knew where you stood. Now, you're back in the same emotional maze, questioning everything. And here's the most confusing part. When he talks to you again, it feels so natural. It's as if no time has passed. You fall back into the same flow, the same laughter, the same small moments that once made you feel safe. It feels familiar. And that's dangerous, because the mind craves what feels familiar, even when it's not good for us. You start thinking, maybe he's changed, maybe he finally understands. But something deep inside whispers, be careful, because a man who truly understands doesn't come back with vague words. He comes back with clarity, with effort, with actions that show growth. But if he's reaching out with the same empty energy, chances are he's not here to rebuild anything. He's just here to feel something again. You see, many men don't come back because they're ready to love differently. They come back because something inside them feels incomplete. It could be the memory of your softness, the safety they felt when you cared, or the comfort of knowing someone out there still thinks about them. And so they come back, not to fix the past, but to feed their ego with the idea that they still can. But what about you? You're not the same woman you were when he left. You've changed. You've learned. You've cried enough tears to fill the silence he left behind. And deep down you know that his return isn't a sign of destiny. It's a test of your growth. Because sometimes, life brings the same person back. Not to start over, but to see if you've finally learned the lesson. Let's be clear. When a man comes back, it's not random. It's not fate. It's not a sign that the love was too strong to die. It's psychology, and it runs deeper than he realizes. Because every man who leaves and later returns is being pulled by one of three invisible forces. Three emotional triggers that push him to reach out. Not because he's made a conscious choice, but because something inside him is restless. Something unfinished. The first reason he comes back is ego disruption. When a man walks away, he convinces himself that he's in control. He tells himself that leaving is his decision, that he can move on easily. But when he realizes that you didn't collapse, that your world didn't stop spinning, it shakes him. Your silence becomes louder than your words. Your peace becomes proof that maybe he wasn't as important as he believed. And that's when his ego starts to itch. He might not even miss you yet, but he misses how you made him feel. The admiration, the attention, the validation. So he comes back not to love, but to check. To see if he still has the same effect on you. To see if your heart still opens for him the way it once did. And when it does, even a little, his ego breathes again. He feels powerful, wanted, relevant. But once that need is satisfied, he disappears again, leaving you wondering what went wrong, when the truth is, he never came back for love. He came back for reassurance. The second reason is emotional emptiness. When he left, he thought freedom would feel exciting. He wanted space, new experiences, maybe even other people. But after a while, the excitement fades. And in those quiet nights, when no one understands him like you did, he starts remembering. Not the fights, not the distance, but the warmth, the way you listened, the way you cared without asking for anything, the safety of being emotionally seen. That's when loneliness begins to whisper his name back to you. He's not coming back because he's ready to commit. He's coming back because he misses the comfort of being loved by you. You were his emotional home, and when the world feels cold, even men who swore they'd never return find their way back to the last place they felt understood. But here's the trap. He's not back to rebuild the home. He just wants to rest there for a while. And the third reason is unresolved attachment. Every connection leaves a mark. When he left, he thought time would erase it, but it doesn't. The bond between you stays buried in his subconscious. Sometimes he dreams of you. Sometimes he hears your laugh in someone else. Sometimes he just wakes up with that strange emptiness that has no name. That's emotional residue, the part of him still tied to what you were. Men don't always know how to process that. They suppress, they distract, they pretend they've moved on. But emotional energy doesn't disappear. It just hides until something reminds them. A scent, a song, a random thought. And that's when they reach out. Not because they have a plan, but because they're trying to silence that ghost, to make the feeling go away. He texts, hoping that maybe hearing your voice or seeing your name again will help him regain control. But deep down, he's not coming back for you. He's coming back to deal with the version of himself that he lost when he was with you. That's why sometimes he says things like, "I've been thinking about you," or "I just wanted to see how you're doing." He's trying to relieve a weight he doesn't understand. You, on the other hand, interpret it as a sign, as hope, and that's where pain repeats itself. So when he reaches out, you have to ask yourself, is this message about me, or about him trying to fix something inside himself? Because if it's about ego, he'll disappear once you validate him. If it's about emptiness, he'll leave again once he feels full. And if it's about unresolved attachment, he'll use you as therapy until the memory quiets down. You see, men rarely return for love at first. They return for relief. Emotional, psychological, or even spiritual relief from the discomfort of losing control, feeling lonely, or being haunted by the past. But love, real love, isn't about escaping discomfort. It's about choosing growth, responsibility, and respect. If he hasn't reached that level of awareness yet, his return isn't a new beginning, it's a loop. And unless you've changed the way you respond, he'll drag you right back into it, because he doesn't need to understand why he came back. But you do. So you can finally decide if this time it's worth opening the door again. The moment you reply to that message, everything changes again. You tell yourself it's harmless, that it's just a conversation, nothing more. But every word he sends reopens a door you swore you'd keep closed. And just like that, you're back inside a story you already know the ending to. Because here's the truth. When you let someone back in before understanding why they left, you invite the same wound to reopen. This time, deeper. And that's how the cycle begins again. He texts. You smile. He calls. You remember. He says he misses you. Your heart believes him, because it wants to. You start imagining that maybe this time will be different. Maybe he's realized everything he lost. Maybe he's finally ready. But then, the pattern repeats. He starts to pull away. He disappears again, leaving you staring at your phone, wondering what you did wrong. Again. And that's when the pain hits harder than before. Not because he left, but because you knew better, and still hoped. You see, men like this don't always mean to hurt you, but they do hurt you, because they don't know what they're looking for. They're confused, emotionally immature, and stuck in cycles of guilt, pride, and fear. They crave connection, but they fear vulnerability. They want love, but only on their terms. So they come close enough to feel wanted, and then pull away the moment it feels too real. And every time you let him in, you teach him that he can leave and return without consequence. That your heart is still a home waiting for him to get lost and find his way back whenever he pleases. But you deserve better than being someone's emotional pit stop. Because here's what happens when you don't draw the line. He gets peace, and you get chaos. He gets closure, and you get confusion. He gets validation, and you get the illusion of connection. And once his temporary need is met, he leaves lighter, while you're left heavier. Every "I miss you" from him reopens your hope. Every "I've been thinking about you" keeps your healing stuck in the past. Because the moment you respond, your heart starts negotiating again. It remembers the good times, forgets the pain, and convinces itself that maybe the story still has a chance. But it doesn't. Not until he's done running from himself. And that's what most women don't see. That his return isn't about you. It's about his own inner battle. You're just the mirror reflecting what he refuses to face. When he feels lost, he reaches for you, not because you're the solution, but because you represent the last time he felt stable. But love is not a hospital where you treat the same patient forever. If you keep healing him, you'll end up bleeding yourself dry. That's why this moment, right now, is the real test. It's not about whether he comes back. It's about whether you still fall for the same words. Because when you learn to stay silent, when you stop chasing explanations, and when you finally stop giving access to people who only come back out of confusion, that's when you win. You see, he might reach out again, and he might even sound sincere. But unless his actions match his words, unless he shows growth, consistency, and vulnerability, you have to believe what you see, not what you hope for. Hope without evidence is how you stay trapped, bound by the same emotional cycle, waiting for someone who isn't ready to meet you where you are. So next time he shows up, take a breath before you answer. Because one message can cost you months of peace. And one, "I miss you," can take you back to a version of yourself that you fought so hard to outgrow. You don't owe anyone access just because they suddenly remember your value, especially not someone who had to lose you to see it. One day you'll look back and realize that his return wasn't a sign of love. It was a test of your growth, a test to see if you'd fall for the same words, the same promises, the same version of him that never changed. Because sometimes life doesn't send people back to stay. It sends them back to see if you've learned to say no. You spent nights trying to understand why he left. You blamed yourself. You replayed conversations. You searched for closure. But what you didn't realize is that closure doesn't come from them. It comes from you. It's that quiet moment when you finally understand that you don't need answers to move on. You don't need apologies to find peace. And you don't need his validation to feel worthy again. Because you were never hard to love. You just loved someone who wasn't ready to receive it. Someone who mistook your loyalty for comfort and your softness for weakness. But now you know better. And once you know, you can't unsee it. If he reaches out again, let your silence speak for you. Silence is power. It's how you show the universe and yourself that you've outgrown the version of you that begged for explanations. You no longer need to prove your value to someone who couldn't see it the first time. Because real strength isn't blocking him out of anger. It's no longer being available out of wisdom. It's choosing peace over chaos, dignity over desire, and finally understanding that love shouldn't hurt, confuse, or keep you waiting for someone's emotional maturity. So the next time he texts you out of nowhere, don't rush to answer. Take a breath. Remember how long it took to heal. Ask yourself if he deserves access to the woman you've become, or if he only deserves to miss her. Because not every "I miss you" deserves a reply. Some just deserve silence and closure. And if right now you're in that place, that in-between moment where part of you wants to believe and part of you knows better, let this be your reminder. You don't owe anyone another chance to break you. You owe yourself the peace that comes from finally letting go. Because when you stop reopening old doors, life has a way of bringing new ones. Doors that lead to love that's calm, steady, and real. The kind that doesn't make you question your worth. It reminds you of it every day. So choose peace, choose clarity. And remember, when he comes back again, it's not always because he wants you. Sometimes it's because he finally realizes he lost someone he'll never find again. But by then, you'll be too busy living the life he took for granted to even notice he returned.